Well, since I got my lathe fixed, I think the next step in getting my bucket done is to start working on those bushings for the ears. So I think what I've decided to do is go ahead and cut all this junk off of this existing bushing and reuse it, since I can put it in the lathe now. And what I'll do is cut most of this off with the torch, and that'll make it a lot easier. I can just turn it down and try to find out where the existing bushing was, and that'll save me a lot of time. And this part right here that I was concerned about, I'll just weld it up and cut it back down. So, just being able to reuse this because it's already got the holes in it will save me a lot of time. I wanted to explain a few things before I get too deep into this video. I'm not a machinist, and I don't claim to be. I wish I knew a lot more about it, because my dad was a master machinist, and I don't know if I've mentioned it or not, but he was a mechanical engineer for NASA. So needless to say, there was nothing he couldn't do. And I just wish I had paid more attention, growing up, to the things he was doing. But I would watch him, and I could do drive lines and stuff like that, but when it got to something really technical and precise, I didn't have the experience. And I'm almost 60 right now, and my dad died when I was about 28, I think. So I wish he was still around to show me how to do this stuff and to give me some pointers. And I wish I could somehow make him proud, but I don't know enough, like I said, to be anywhere in the class he was. Most people wasn't. But I bought this lathe off a guy, and I wanted to try to learn how to do that kind of stuff, and I needed it for my projects I do anyway. And but it's kind of rough. I think it's got a bearing bad in the spindle where the chuck bolt's on, so it gets a little vibration in it, and you'll probably notice that when I start cutting, it gets a chatter. But I'm slowly getting it going, and fixing some problems on it, and I'm going to get some other parts for it to try to make it better. I can't expect a lot out of that thing, because it's 113 years old. So I can just I'm just glad it's still working. So just kind of give me a break on this stuff. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to learn it. So we'll get into this video. Well, I was having to be a little careful cutting that out. Like a big dummy, I wore the wrong shoes down here to be using a torch. But I got it cut out fairly round, so I'll get it in the lathe and start trimming it down and see what it looks like. So I'm going to try to clean some of this, these burrs up on this small end, because that's where I'm going to clamp to first. Yeah, I'm going to clamp to the small end first. Thing's still hot. Whew, it's been 20 minutes since I cut that, and it's still hot enough to burn me through my glove. I believe that's about close to when we get it. One thing I've got to do is I've got to order some new tool holders. I only have so many of these 3/8 carbide bits, and you know, this one I could probably grind this off right here and be able to get in there a little bit better, so that's what I'm going to do. So I took off the side of that bit right there so it'll get a little bit more clearance in here next to the jaws. See, the problem I'm having where this has got the older style 4-corner post, and it's huge, and it uses this type of tool holder here, which you can't find anymore. I've looked everywhere trying to buy some, and the only thing you can do is hopefully look out and find some at a yard sale, or you know, equipment sales or something like that, some used stuff. But I'm not having any luck finding any, and this one here's been heated and bent, and you know, like I said, it only holds 3/8 bits. It's okay, but I want to get some of the newer style. So what I've been thinking about doing is trying to find this style of tool holder and you know, adapt it to fit my lathe. But what I've been able to find is only for like, you know, 12 to 14 inch swing lathes. Mine's a 15, and I don't know if it'd be big enough or not, but if I could buy one of these and maybe cut the block in half so it would fit into my tool holder, you know, and I'd have to mill it down or, you know, make it fit. But that's something I've been considering doing. But I don't know, this block like this is $199. But it comes with a bunch of different tool holders, you know, like that right there. So it might be worth it if I could figure out a way to adapt it. Another thing I thought about doing was maybe just, you know, bore the hole out in the middle so it would fit over my post. But I don't know if it'd work or not. Well, I broke the tip off the cutter. Let me sharpen it here. So, I don't know if you've seen this piece of metal come off when I was cutting it. That's the reason I was taking such real thin cuts and cutting slow, was I was hoping that I would see something like this, but I didn't expect it to peel off like that. So, it was sitting, well, it looks like right there. So, I was actually thinking that this area here where the ear was, that this slid back into a hole and it had a notch cut in it that it slid into. But what this tells me is that the metal for the ear was actually out to here at 3 inches. Because you can see right here, I kind of first thought that was a weld peeled off, but if you see these little lines, these striations, that is actually from the plasma cutter cutting through the metal, and it leaves little fine lines. And so, you know, like I said, it was sitting here just like that right there. So I lucked out and it just peeled off right exactly where it's supposed to be. So all I got to do now is I really want to weld this up and then turn it all back down. But, I mean, it don't have to be perfect because it's going to get beat up anyway. So, I could turn it around and then clean this side up, but there's really no point in that either. So, I could call this finished and just, you know, be done with it. But I think I'm going to maybe weld that up a little bit. So I was just looking at this bushing on the bucket, and I measured it, and it's 2.665. So if I come over here and measure this one at where it's damaged, it's 2.643. So that's almost no difference. So that damage on this one was caused by the it being too wide, and it was hitting the quick connect when the excavator connected to the bucket. So I'm just going to turn this down to the bottom of that damaged area instead of welding it. There's no point in welding it if it's already too thick. Golly. Ugh. Thing holds tight now. That's it right there. There's still a little bit of pit in it, but actually I think I'm gonna go ahead and take it down to that right there because it's too wide. I'd rather take more off of it than it be damaging my quick connect. New quick connect's $5,000 for that thing, so. Looks almost brand new. Now I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll just start working on making the other one. Well, I might as well take the grinder to this side and polish it up too while I'm doing it. And I still gotta bore that out. I about forgot. Okay, so I'm getting ready to duplicate this bushing right here. And I got lucky and found a piece of round stock that's just a little bit bigger than what I need. This is 2.975 and this is 2.945. So what I'm going to do is just put this whole piece of round stock in the chuck, and then I'm going to turn it down to this length right here, or just a little bit past it, and I'll put it in the bandsaw and then cut it off and then put it back in here and just, you know, true up the end. It really don't have to be that close, but that way I won't have to cut partially on one side, flip it around, cut the other side. It'll just save me a couple of steps. Let's see how close we are here. Getting pretty close. I don't know why I'm trying to be so accurate on this, because it don't have to be. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to take this out, take it over to the bandsaw and cut this piece off right here. That's going to take a while to cut right there. Well, that bandsaw is really old. I think the guy that I bought it off of said it was probably about 40 years old, so it's still younger than me though. See, I'm not the best in the world at this. I'm not a machinist, and I don't claim to be. Okay, let's try this again, see what it does. I screwed up. I let my tip of my cutter touch the piece of stock when I tightened this up, and it chipped it. So I don't know if it's going to cut right or not. Man, it's better than it was, so we'll just have to go with that. I wish I knew half the stuff my dad knew. Boy, I broke a big chunk out of it. I'm surprised it cut it all. Okay, I got the chip out of it. And I think I've got it centered pretty good. Let me see if it matches up with that little knob sticking out there. I'm gonna see if I can get a little bit better cut on that. That's really rough where that corner broke off on it. That's a whole lot better cut there. I'm going to flip this around and true up the other end. Looks pretty good after you hit it with the grinder. Boy, I just about messed up. I was getting ready to make another one of these bushings, and I don't need one. I've got it. So what I need to do is make this one. It's basically the same thing, it just doesn't have this end on it for the bolt to go through for the pins. So it'll make it a lot easier to do. But now I'm going to have to cut down a whole lot off of that slug over there. But so actually I guess it's not saving me that much time. So I decided to put that slug of metal in the bandsaw to cut off what I don't need instead of turning it all down on the lathe. That would take a while to cut that down. I'm sure I'll find something else to use that for. Yeah, I thought I hit record, but I didn't. I missed the button or something, but I drilled this bushing out, and I don't have a drill chuck with the correct Morse taper to fit this center. I've got one ordered, but I don't know when it's going to be here. So I found the smallest drill bit I had and just drilled through real slow so I didn't heat up the drill bit. But yeah, this old center here has been modified in the past. I don't know who made this bottom for it, but I mean, they got it pretty straight, but it doesn't lock down good because of this, you know, the lever pulls up from the bottom and then just squeezes it down. And this base doesn't lock down tight enough, so I had to put a pair of vice grips on it to help hold it. It only moved about 1 inch while I was drilling through, so it's not too bad. But yeah, that drilled a whole lot easier than I expected it to. So it went pretty good. Well, this is the closest drill bit I could find to the, you know, the hole size that I've got to get to. And it's a little bit too big. It's pretty close to this, to 40 millimeter. But I had some smaller ones, but they're in pretty bad shape up here on the tips. I got these drill bits at an estate sale, so you know, I don't have a whole lot to choose from. Okay, let's see what my final hole size is here. I've got to be at 40 for the finished product. I'm just hoping that drill bit didn't over drill. It's pretty good, 38.56, so I don't have to do much to get it to my final size. Alright, so I've got my homemade boring bar in there. So let's see if we can bore this thing out without screwing it up. Well, I don't know what's going on with my GoPro camera, but I hit record and it's only recording 11 seconds and then, it stops recording. So I'm going to have to go get my other camera before I can record anymore. So I've got something going on with my GoPro camera. It's when you hit record, it's only recording for like 10 or 15 seconds and then stopping. But I got the hole bored out, so now I'm going to try to kind of round off that edge. Make it a little easier to get the pin through. But right now it's bored out to 40.24 millimeters, so that should be perfect. The pin doesn't have to be tightened. This one just needs to be able to go in and out and not have any slack in it. So I've got my piece of metal put on the plasma table, and I have my design already loaded up, and you can see I've already done my test cut. So I'm going to cut this out now and see if it's going to work. What the? Well, apparently I had a setting wrong because it didn't cut right. It dug into the metal right here and went off. So I'm going to try another cut. Okay, so that one cut out better. It kills me that I wasted that metal right there, but this one did good here. Let me get it out of there and let it cool down, and I'll take it over and see if it'll fit. Well, apparently doing the factory reset on the camera has helped it. It doesn't seem to be stopping the recording like it was before. So hopefully it'll keep going like it is. Okay, so that one cut out pretty good too. Seems like I always mess up the first one for some reason. But yeah, this one did pretty good. So I've got the ears done, and what I'll have to do is I'll have to use these magnets to hold them in place while I figure out exactly where they need to be. Because these, when the ears were on the bucking originally, they had the pins too far apart. The pins are only supposed to be 10 1/4 inches apart from center to center. And before they were at 11 inches apart. So this is the old pin that's only 36 millimeter, but I'll use it to show you, what you can see the difference in that. But I'm either going to make a new pin or take one of the pins out of my tilt bucket to get my measurements right. So what I'll have to do is measure from center to center. Well, let's see what it is right now. Now this will just be a rough. See, right now they're at 10 3/4, so I'll have to trim this off a little bit so it comes closer together before I weld it in place. So I'll have to get my measurements, width and everything correct, and I can just go off of this to get that, and I'll square it up. But then when I get my measurements this way, I can tack it in place and then weld it up. Well, I finally got my drill chuck in. I'm not real sure who it came from. I ordered it through TikTok shop, and it says USGA 2 Tory on it, so I don't know what that is, but I don't guess it matters. So let's see what this thing looks like, if it was worth it or not. It's got a neat little case to it. There's the drill chuck key. I tried to find a Morse taper 4, but this shop that I looked through didn't have it. So, but I've got an adapter here. I guess that'll work. It's a 5/8 chuck, so. I'll just keep looking for a bigger one later on. But this will definitely do for right now.